"This is no place for people like you to hang around." A cold voice rang out in the middle of TechVision's main hall, a place resplendent with its shiny marble floors and soaring glass ceilings. Maya stood motionless. Right under the cold crystal chandelier, she did not react. She just tilted her head slightly, slowly, as if she was locating a position where the knife was about to strike. Her eyes were not angry, not indignant, only the stillness of a storm about to form. The guard smiled faintly, scanning her from head to toe with a familiar look: contempt, wariness, rejection. The receptionist did not bother to look up when she approached, but immediately stood up and bowed to a white man in a suit who had just entered after her. When Maya softly said, "I came for a meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning," her voice was like water flowing over stone, calm, without ripples. But the receptionist didn't answer, just curled her lips, glanced at Maya, and said softly, "You must have the wrong place. The recruitment office is in the city center." Her heart stopped for a moment. The glances, the sneers, the crowd began to whisper and point about that transaction. Maya still stood straight. No yelling, no arguing. She opened her phone, sent a message with only 3 words. You wouldn't believe that no one in the lobby knew. Just 1 text message and 5 seemingly harmless minutes. Yet that very moment ignited a silent earthquake, one that would sweep away an entire system, once thought untouchable. Maya approaches the front desk with the measured steps of someone who knows exactly where she belongs, even if everyone around her seems determined to prove otherwise. She's here for an emergency board meeting, one she called herself, after receiving disturbing reports about the toxic culture festering in her company's ranks. For 3 months, she's been conducting her own investigation, watching from the shadows as discrimination and prejudice have taken root in the very organization she built to be a beacon of equality. "Excuse me," she says to the receptionist, her voice carrying the gentle authority of someone accustomed to being heard. "I'm here for the 9 o'clock board meeting." Jennifer, the blonde receptionist, barely glances up from her computer screen. Her manicured nails continue clicking across the keyboard as if Maya's words are just background noise. When a white businessman in an expensive suit walks in moments later, however, Jennifer's demeanor transforms completely. Her face lights up with a professional smile, her posture straightens, and suddenly she's all helpfulness and efficiency. "Good morning, sir. How can I assist you today?" The contrast is so stark, so deliberate, that Maya almost admires its brazenness. She waits patiently as Jennifer processes the businessman's request with lightning speed, providing directions, offering coffee, even calling ahead to announce his arrival. When he disappears into the elevator, Jennifer returns to her computer, as if Maya has ceased to exist. Derek, the security guard who first challenged her outside, has now positioned himself nearby, his arms crossed and his expression broadcasting suspicion. "Ma'am, you're going to need to wait in the visitors area," he announces, pointing to a small section of uncomfortable chairs tucked away from the main lobby. Maya notices that none of the other visitors, all of whom happen to be white, have been directed to this particular seating area. She complies without protest. But her mind is cataloging everything. The timestamp on the security monitor, Derek's badge number, Jennifer's nameplate. She pulls out her phone and begins taking notes, her movements subtle but deliberate. A text message appears on her screen from her assistant, Sarah. "Board meeting confirmed for 9 a.m. Shall I send car?" Maya types back, "Delay 10 minutes. Observing ground situation." Michael, a middle manager she doesn't recognize, emerges from the elevator and spots her in the visitors section. His eyes narrow with the kind of territorial suspicion that middle management wears like armor. "Excuse me, are you sure you're in the right place? The job center is downtown." His words carry the condescending tone of someone who believes he's being helpful while delivering an insult. Maya meets his gaze steadily, her expression giving nothing away. "I'm here for a meeting. she replies simply. The lobby buzzes with activity around her, but Maya notices she's become a focal point of whispered conversations and sideways glances. A young black man from the IT department, his badge reads James, passes by, and their eyes meet for just a moment. She sees recognition there, not of who she is, but of what she's experiencing. His expression is sympathetic but cautious, the look of someone who knows better than to involve himself in situations that might reflect poorly on his own precarious position. Maya continues her documentation, her phone capturing audio and video with the practiced discretion of someone who has learned that evidence is everything. She's not just experiencing discrimination. She's building a case study that will serve as a powerful tool for the changes she's about to implement. The irony isn't lost on her that she's gathering evidence of bias in her own company, but she recognizes this moment as an opportunity to expose and address systemic problems that have clearly taken root, despite her efforts to build an inclusive culture. The tension in the lobby is building now, and Maya can sense that this is just the beginning. Derek keeps glancing in her direction, his hand hovering near his radio as if she might suddenly become a security threat. Jennifer continues to ignore her completely, even when other visitors ask for assistance, creating an invisible barrier around Maya, as if her presence is somehow contaminating the pristine corporate environment. Maya's phone buzzes with another message from Sarah. Status update? She responds, confirming everything we suspected. Prepare for full implementation of Protocol 7. It's a code they've developed for situations requiring immediate and comprehensive action. As she types, Maya can't help but think about how many other people have stood in this very spot, experiencing this same treatment, but without the power to change anything. That knowledge fuels her resolve as she settles in to wait for the perfect moment to reveal the truth. But the discrimination escalates with surgical precision, each new indignity carefully calibrated to make Maya question her right to exist in this space. Jennifer finally acknowledges her presence, but only to inform her that there is no record of any meeting on her calendar, despite Maya producing the email confirmation on her phone. Maybe you have the wrong company, Jennifer suggests with false sweetness, her tone dripping with the kind of sensation reserved for people she considers beneath her notice. Derek approaches with reinforcements, another security guard whose name tag reads Tom. They flank Maya like she's a potential shoplifter, their body language broadcasting suspicion and authority. Ma'am, we're going to need to see some identification, Derek announces loud enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. Maya complies, producing her driver's license with the same calm demeanor she's maintained throughout this ordeal. But even this simple request becomes an opportunity for further humiliation. Tom examines her ID with theatrical thoroughness, holding it up to the light, comparing the photo to her face multiple times, even running his finger over the surface, as if checking for forgeries. Meanwhile, a steady stream of other visitors passes through the lobby without being asked for any identification whatsoever. The message is clear. Your presence here is so unlikely, so suspicious, that extraordinary verification is required. What kind of business did you say you had here? Derek asks, though Maya hasn't mentioned the nature of her business. His question is designed to probe, to find inconsistencies, to justify the treatment she's receiving. A meeting, she repeats, her voice steady despite the growing audience of employees and visitors who have begun to notice the commotion. Michael returns, this time with backup in the form of a woman whose badge identifies her as Patricia from Human Resources. Patricia's smile is practiced and professional, but her eyes are calculating as she surveys the situation. Is there a problem here? She asks, directing her question to the security guards rather than to Maya, as if Maya is an object to be discussed rather than a person to be addressed. This lady claims she has a meeting, but we can't find any record of it, Derek explains, his tone suggesting that Maya's claims are inherently untrustworthy. Patricia nods sagely, as if this confirms something she already suspected. Ma'am, are you perhaps looking for employment opportunities? We do have a very thorough application process, but I'm afraid walk-ins aren't really how we handle hiring. The assumption stings. Not because there's anything wrong with job seeking, but because of the assumption itself. Maya, CEO of a Fortune 500 company, is being treated like an uninvited job applicant based solely on her appearance. She pulls out her phone and discreetly starts recording, knowing that what happens next will become part of the training materials she'll implement company-wide. "I have a confirmed meeting," Maya states again, her voice carrying just a hint of steel beneath the professional courtesy. But Patricia's smile never wavers, the kind of smile that says she's dealt with difficult people before and knows how to handle them. "Honey, I think there might be some confusion here. The executive meetings are invitation only, and I don't see your name on any lists." The word honey hangs in the air like a slap. Maya's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly, but she doesn't take the bait. Instead, she sends a text to her legal counsel. "Document everything. This is worse than we thought." Then another to her assistant. "Prepare full executive team alert. Include discrimination training resources." James from IT passes by again, this time deliberately slowing his pace. Their eyes meet once more, and Maya sees something shift in his expression. Not just sympathy now, but a dawning recognition that something significant is happening here. He glances at the security guards, at Patricia's condescending smile, at the small crowd that's beginning to gather. And Maya can see him processing the implications of what he's witnessing. The lobby has become a theater, and Maya is unwillingly cast as the main character in a drama about bias and power. But she's no longer just experiencing discrimination. She's documenting a case study that will serve as the foundation for the comprehensive changes about to sweep through TechVision Corporation. The irony of being discriminated against in her own company isn't lost on her, but she recognizes this moment as a catalyst for the transformation she's been planning. Patricia checks her watch with exaggerated concern. "Ma'am, I really think there's been some mistake. Perhaps you could call whoever you think you're supposed to meet with. I'm sure we can clear this up." Her tone suggests that the mistake is obviously Maya's, and that any reasonable person would accept this explanation and leave quietly. But Maya isn't going anywhere. Not yet. The humiliation reaches its crescendo when Richard, the director of operations, makes his grand entrance. He strides into the lobby with the confident swagger of someone who believes his authority is absolute, his expensive suit and polished shoes announcing his status before he even speaks. When he spots the commotion around Maya, his expression shifts from curiosity to annoyance, to something approaching disgust. "What's going on here?" he demands, his voice carrying across the lobby with the authority of someone accustomed to having his questions answered immediately. Patricia steps forward eagerly, clearly relieved to have someone of higher status take control of the situation. "We have someone here claiming to have a meeting, but there's no record of any appointment." Richard's eyes sweep over Maya with undisguised contempt, taking in her modest attire and professional demeanor as if they're evidence of deception. "Seriously? We're wasting time with this?" His tone suggests that Maya's very presence is an inconvenience that lesser employees should have handled without bothering him. He turns to Derek and Tom with the exasperated air of someone forced to clean up other people's messes. "Look, lady," Richard begins, his voice loud enough to ensure everyone in the lobby can hear. "I don't know what kind of affirmative action story you're trying to pull here, but this is a serious business environment. We have protocols. We have security measures. And we don't just let anyone waltz in here demanding access to our executives." The words hit the air like a physical assault, each syllable dripping with the kind of casual racism that hides behind corporate speak and plausible deniability. Several employees stop what they're doing to stare, some looking uncomfortable, others nodding in agreement with Richard's assessment. Maya feels the weight of their collective judgment, but her expression remains serene, almost meditative. Patricia seizes the moment to escalate further. "This is getting ridiculous. Maybe we should call the real police," she suggests, her voice carrying just enough volume to ensure maximum humiliation. The threat hangs in the air like a loaded weapon, designed to make Maya understand that she doesn't belong here and never will. Derek steps closer, his hand now resting on his radio. "I knew something was off the moment she walked in. These types always cause trouble," he announces to his colleague, speaking about Maya as if she's not standing right there. The dehumanization is complete. She's no longer a person with legitimate business, but a problem to be solved, a threat to be neutralized. Maya is escorted to what they euphemistically call a special waiting area, in reality an isolated corner of the lobby, where she can be monitored while being kept separate from the legitimate visitors and employees. She's asked to present her identification multiple times, forbidden from using the company Wi-Fi, and even denied basic courtesies like water or access to the restroom. The psychological pressure is intense and deliberate. Every few minutes, someone finds a reason to question her presence, to verify her story, to make it clear that she doesn't belong. Maya watches other visitors flow through the lobby with ease, their access never questioned, their presence never challenged. And she documents every disparity with the methodical precision of someone building an airtight case. But she's not just gathering evidence. She's preparing for war. Her phone buzzes constantly, with messages from her leadership team. To her legal counsel, need termination protocols ready. Multiple violations confirmed. To the chairman of the board, situation confirmed, requesting immediate authority to act. To her HR director, override current management decisions, full review needed. The minutes tick by with agonizing slowness. 30 minutes of being denied entry, 45 minutes of isolation, an hour of investigation, an hour and 15 minutes of public humiliation. With each passing moment, Maya's resolve hardens, her plans crystallize, and her patience, legendary in boardrooms across the country, finally begins to wear thin. James appears again, this time carrying a folder that he deliberately drops near Maya's chair. As he bends to retrieve it, he whispers without looking at her. They sent an email to all staff. Alert: suspicious individual in lobby. Maintain distance. The revelation that this discrimination has been systematized, turned into an official company communication, adds another layer to the evidence Maya is compiling. Rosa, another employee of color from the accounting department, approaches the lobby but is quickly intercepted by Patricia. "Rosa, honey, maybe take the back elevator today? We have a situation up here that's better avoided." The message is clear. Employees who look like Maya are being warned away, creating a perimeter of segregation that would make Jim Crow proud. As the humiliation peaks, Maya makes her final preparations. She sends one last text to her assistant: "Execute Protocol 7, full authority granted." Then she leans back in her uncomfortable chair and waits for the moment that will change everything. The security cameras have captured every moment, every word, every discriminatory action. The audio recordings on her phone have documented every slur, every assumption, every casual cruelty. The storm is about to break, and Maya Johnson, CEO, entrepreneur, and architect of systemic change, is ready to remind everyone exactly who they're dealing with. When Richard threatens to call the real police, Maya's phone erupts in a symphony of authority. The caller ID flashes across her screen in letters that would make lesser mortals tremble. Chairman of the board. She answers with the calm precision of someone who has been waiting for exactly this moment, her voice carrying across the suddenly quiet lobby with crystalline clarity. "Yes, Robert, I think it's time," she says, her tone as conversational as if she's discussing weekend plans rather than orchestrating the professional destruction of everyone who has tormented her for the past hour and a half. The words float through the air like a detonation, and Maya watches as comprehension begins to dawn on the faces around her. The lobby doors burst open as if choreographed for maximum dramatic impact. Sarah, Maya's assistant, strides in, flanked by two of the company's most senior attorneys, their expressions grim and purposeful. Behind them, David, the general counsel, whose reputation for thoroughness is legendary throughout the corporate world, enters with the measured pace of someone who has seen too many of these situations and knows exactly how they end. Maya Johnson, Chief Executive Officer of TechVision Corporation, Sarah announces, her voice cutting through the lobby like a corporate sword of justice. I apologize for the delay caused by these irregularities. She hands Maya a tablet displaying the company's organizational chart, with Maya's photo prominently featured at the top, beneath the title Chief Executive Officer and Founder. Derek's face drains of color so quickly that Maya briefly worries he might faint. His mouth opens and closes like a fish, gasping for air, his hand frozen halfway to his radio, as if the gesture has suddenly become absurd. CEO? He stammers, the word coming out as barely a whisper. But she looks... The sentence hangs unfinished in the air, its implications more damning than any completed thought could be. Patricia's professional smile has transformed into something resembling a death mask, her eyes wide with the kind of terror reserved for people who suddenly realize they've made career-ending mistakes. She starts to speak, stops, starts again, and finally settles for opening and closing her mouth soundlessly. Richard, who moments before was threatening to call the police, now looks like he wants nothing more than for the earth to open up and swallow him whole. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the perfectly climate-controlled lobby, and his expensive suit suddenly seems to hang on him like a costume he's no longer qualified to wear. David, the general counsel, steps forward with the gravity of someone delivering a verdict. All security personnel, please step back immediately. You are addressing the Chief Executive Officer of this corporation. His words carry the weight of legal authority, transforming the power dynamics in the lobby as completely as if someone had flipped a switch. Maya rises from her uncomfortable chair with fluid grace, her modest blazer and simple briefcase now revealed as the power suit they've always been. She doesn't gloat, doesn't grin with satisfaction, doesn't even raise her voice. Instead, she speaks with the quiet authority of someone who has never needed to prove her worth to anyone. I understand there may have been some confusion, she says, her tone suggesting that she's willing to give everyone the benefit of the doubt despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Let's address this properly and professionally. The graciousness in her voice only makes the situation more devastating for those who have spent the past hour systematically humiliating her. Robert, the chairman of the board, appears on David's tablet via video conference, his distinguished gray hair and expensive suit providing a stark contrast to the chaos unfolding in the lobby. Maya, I'm deeply sorry for what you've experienced today. This is absolutely unacceptable, and we'll be addressing it immediately and comprehensively. Sarah approaches with another tablet, this one displaying security footage from the past 2 hours. The entire incident has been recorded from multiple angles, she informs the stunned lobby. Additionally, Ms. Johnson documented everything on her personal device for training and legal purposes. Maya's foresight in recording the discrimination now appears not as defensive paranoia, but as the strategic thinking of a leader who understands the importance of accountability. James, the IT employee who had shown Maya silent support throughout her ordeal, watches from across the lobby with an expression of vindicated satisfaction. Rosa, the accounting employee who had been warned away from the situation, peeks around the corner with undisguised amazement. Both employees, who had recognized the injustice but felt powerless to intervene, now witness the spectacular reversal of fortune unfolding before them. Maya turns her attention to the employees who had shown courage in small ways throughout the morning. James, she says, her voice carrying across the lobby, thank you for your professionalism today. Please see Sarah about scheduling a promotion review. Your integrity hasn't gone unnoticed. James's face lights up with a mixture of surprise and gratitude, realizing that his small acts of kindness have been observed and will be rewarded. Rosa, Maya continues. Your discretion and professionalism will be noted in your next performance review. If you're interested in exploring opportunities in other departments, we'll make sure you have those conversations. The message is clear. Those who stood on the right side of history, even in small ways, will benefit from their choices. The transformation in the lobby is complete. What had been a space of exclusion and discrimination has become a courtroom where justice is being served in real time. Maya's calm authority fills the room like a physical presence, and everyone present understands that they are witnessing something far more significant than a simple case of mistaken identity. They are seeing systemic change implemented with surgical precision and unshakable moral authority. Patricia attempts a desperate recovery, her voice shaking with the kind of panic that comes from watching your career evaporate in real time. Ms. Johnson, I had no idea who you were. If I had known... Her words trail off as she realizes she's making Maya's point more effectively than any speech could. Maya's response is gentle but devastating. That's exactly the problem, Patricia. Your treatment of people shouldn't change based on knowing who they are. Every person who walks through these doors deserves basic respect and professional courtesy, regardless of their position or appearance. The lesson is delivered with the patient tone of a teacher, but everyone understands that this particular classroom has very permanent consequences. Richard tries a different approach, his voice taking on the wheedling tone of someone grasping for any possible escape route. This is all a big misunderstanding. I was just following security protocols. But Maya cuts him off, with a look that could freeze molten steel. No, Richard, she says, her voice carrying the finality of a judge pronouncing sentence. This is exactly what it appears to be. There's no misunderstanding here, no confusion, no protocol that justifies treating anyone the way you've treated me today. This is discrimination, pure and simple, and it ends now. The words hang in the air like a declaration of war against prejudice itself, and everyone present understands that they are witnessing not just the resolution of one incident, but the beginning of a complete transformation of corporate culture. Maya Johnson has revealed herself, not just as the CEO, but as an agent of change whose patience has finally reached its limit. The hammer of justice falls with swift and merciless precision. Maya's voice cuts through the stunned silence of the lobby like a blade through silk, each word carefully chosen for maximum impact and absolute clarity. Effective immediately, Patricia, Richard, and Derek, you are suspended pending a full investigation into your conduct. Your access cards will be deactivated within the hour, and security will escort you to collect your personal belongings. The pronouncement lands like a series of thunderclaps. Patricia's legs actually buckle, and she reaches for a nearby chair to steady herself. The professional mask she's worn for years finally crumbles completely, revealing the desperate panic beneath. Mrs. Johnson, please, she gasps, her voice breaking with the kind of raw terror that comes from watching your entire world collapse. I have a family. I have a mortgage. I can't lose this job. I didn't know. I never meant. Her pleas echo through the lobby, but Maya's expression remains unmoved. Your family circumstances don't excuse discrimination, Patricia. Your mortgage payments don't justify treating people as less than human. And your ignorance of my identity only proves that your prejudice is systemic, not personal. Each word is delivered with surgical precision, cutting away any possible excuse or justification. Richard's response is predictably different. Where Patricia collapses into desperate pleading, he explodes into righteous indignation. This is reverse discrimination, he shouts, his face flushing red with a combination of humiliation and rage. You can't fire people for following security protocols? I'll sue this company into the ground. I'll take this to the media. Maya's laugh is soft and genuinely amused. Please do take this to the media, Richard. I'm sure they'll be fascinated by the security protocols that only apply to people who look like me. And as for lawsuits, I suspect our legal team is rather looking forward to that conversation. David, the general counsel, nods grimly from behind his tablet, his expression suggesting that he's already prepared for any legal challenges. Derek, the security guard who started this entire debacle with his casual cruelty, has gone completely silent. He stares at Maya with the expression of someone who has just realized that his entire understanding of the world was fundamentally wrong. His hand keeps moving toward his radio and then falling away, as if he can't quite process that his authority has evaporated completely. Sarah produces a tablet displaying a company-wide email that's already being distributed to every employee. The subject line reads, "Leadership Changes and Corporate Values Reinforcement." Maya reads aloud, "TechVision Corporation maintains a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination in any form. Effective immediately. Significant changes have been made to our leadership team to ensure that our actions align with our stated value." The implications ripple through the lobby like shockwaves. This isn't just about 3 individuals losing their jobs. This is about a public statement that discrimination will be met with immediate and severe consequences. Other employees who witnessed the morning's events begin to understand that they're not just observing a personnel change, but witnessing a fundamental shift in corporate culture. Robert's voice emerges from David's tablet with the weight of official authority. TechVision deeply regrets the treatment our CEO experienced today. We are implementing immediate and comprehensive changes to prevent any future incidents of this nature. All employees will undergo mandatory sensitivity training, and our hiring and management practices will be reviewed by external consultants. The public nature of the apology transforms Maya's personal humiliation into a corporate learning moment. The discrimination she endured becomes the catalyst for systematic change that will benefit every employee who has ever felt marginalized or unwelcome. Her suffering is transformed into institutional reform, with the alchemy of strong leadership and unwavering moral conviction. James approaches cautiously, his expression a mixture of amazement and gratitude. "Miss Johnson," he says quietly, "I want you to know that what happened today, it happens more than people realize. Thank you for not letting it slide." Maya's nod acknowledges not just his words, but the courage it took for him to speak them in this moment. Rosa emerges from her hiding place near the elevators, her eyes bright with tears of vindication. "I've been here 5 years," she says, her voice thick with emotion. "I've seen this happen to other people, and I always wondered when someone would finally do something about it." Her words capture the feelings of countless employees who have witnessed discrimination but felt powerless to address it. The local news has already begun picking up the story. Sarah's phone buzzes constantly with calls from reporters who have caught wind of a major corporate discrimination incident involving a Fortune 500 CEO. Social media is starting to buzz with hashtags like TechVision CEO and discrimination consequences. Too much. The personal has become political. The individual has become institutional, and Maya's mourning of humiliation is transforming into a national conversation about bias in corporate America. Patricia makes one final, desperate attempt at redemption. "Please, Miss Johnson, I'll do anything. I'll take sensitivity training. I'll volunteer for diversity programs. I'll donate to charity. Just please don't destroy my life over one mistake." But Maya's response is delivered with the inexorable logic of natural consequences. "Patricia, this wasn't one mistake. This was a pattern of behavior that revealed your true character. The way you treat people when you think no one important is watching is who you really are. And who you really are is not compatible with the values of this organization. The judgment is final. Delivered not with anger but with the sad certainty of someone who has seen too much prejudice to believe in easy redemption. The lobby has become a theater of justice, where every player receives exactly what they've earned. The discriminators face the consequences of their choices, The bystanders learn the cost of inaction, and the victims, not just Maya, but every employee who has ever been marginalized, see that change is not only possible, but inevitable when confronted with unwavering moral authority. As security escorts the terminated employees from the building, Maya watches with the satisfaction of someone who has turned personal pain into institutional progress. The humiliation of the morning has been transformed into the catalyst for comprehensive reform, proving that sometimes the most powerful response to injustice is not revenge, but the patient construction of a more just system. Maya stands in the transformed lobby, surrounded by the wreckage of careers destroyed by their own prejudice and the promise of an organization reborn through moral clarity. Her voice, when she finally speaks again, carries the weight of someone who has turned suffering into wisdom and personal pain into institutional progress. "This experience wasn't just about me," she begins, her words carrying to every corner of the suddenly respectful lobby. "It was about everyone who looks like me, sounds like me, or doesn't fit someone else's narrow definition of what leadership should look like. It was about every person who has been judged by their appearance rather than their character, dismissed because of their race rather than evaluated on their merit." She pauses, allowing the weight of her words to settle over the assembled crowd of employees, visitors, and remaining management. "I could have revealed my identity the moment I walked through those doors. I could have demanded immediate recognition and respect. But then we never would have seen the real problem. We never would have witnessed the casual cruelty that passes for normal business practice in too many organizations." James nods vigorously from his position near the elevators, his expression reflecting the validation that comes from having personal experiences acknowledged and addressed. Rosa wipes away tears that speak to years of accumulated indignities finally being recognized and rectified. Other employees of color throughout the lobby exchange glances that communicate a shared understanding of what they've just witnessed. True character reveals itself when people think no one important is watching, Maya continues, her voice gaining strength with each word. "The way you treat the janitor when you think they can't help your career, the way you interact with the receptionist when you believe they have no power over your future, the way you respond to someone who doesn't look like your idea of success, that's who you really are." The philosophical weight of her observation settles over the lobby like a challenge to everyone present. Maya isn't just talking about the 3 people who lost their jobs today. She's talking about the fundamental question of human decency that faces every person in every interaction. Her words force uncomfortable self-reflection on everyone within earshot. Leadership isn't about commanding respect through titles or demanding deference because of position, she explains, her tone taking on the patient quality of someone sharing hard-won wisdom. Real leadership is about earning respect through actions, about treating every person with dignity, regardless of what they can do for you, about building systems that protect the vulnerable rather than exploit them. Maya's gaze sweeps across the lobby, taking in faces that reflect a spectrum of emotions, from shame to inspiration to determination. A system that treats people differently based on appearance, accent, or assumption is fundamentally broken. It doesn't just harm the immediate victims. It corrupts everyone who participates in it, everyone who witnesses it, and everyone who remains silent in the face of it. She reaches into her briefcase and pulls out a folder thick with documentation. This morning's events will become the foundation for comprehensive training programs, not just here at TechVision, but hopefully throughout our industry. Every interaction was recorded, every bias documented, every systemic failure identified. Your colleagues' suffering will become the catalyst for other people's liberation. The transformation in the lobby is palpable. What began as a space of exclusion and humiliation has become a classroom where fundamental lessons about human dignity are being taught with real-world consequences. Maya's presence fills the room not with the authority of position, but with the moral weight of someone who has turned personal pain into universal progress. To every person who has been judged by their appearance rather than their character, Maya says, her voice carrying beyond the lobby to address viewers who will hear this story in break rooms and boardrooms across the country, your worth is not determined by other people's prejudice. Your value doesn't depend on their recognition. Your dignity is inherent and unshakable, regardless of how others choose to treat you. Her words carry the authority of someone who has just proven that patient dignity in the face of systematic humiliation can become the foundation for institutional change. Maya hasn't just survived discrimination. She's transformed it into a teaching moment that will benefit countless others who might have suffered in silence. To every leader watching this unfold, she continues, remember that your actions ripple through your entire organization. The culture you create, the behavior you tolerate, the standards you maintain, these don't just affect you. They shape the experiences of every person who works for you, every customer who trusts you, every community that depends on you. The lobby has become a pulpit from which Maya delivers a sermon on corporate responsibility and human decency. Her authority comes not from her title, but from her willingness to endure humiliation in order to expose and address systematic problems. She has earned the right to speak about dignity by maintaining it under the most challenging circumstances. Change doesn't happen from the top down alone, Maya concludes, her voice carrying the conviction of someone who has just proven that systematic transformation is possible. It requires courage from everyone. The courage to speak up when you witness injustice, the courage to examine your own biases, the courage to build better systems, even when the current ones benefit you. Her words hang in the air like a challenge and a promise, reminding everyone present that they have choices to make and roles to play in creating the kind of world they want to live in. Maya Johnson has turned a morning of personal humiliation into a masterclass in moral leadership, proving that sometimes the most powerful response to injustice is the patient work of building something better. Maya surveys the transformed lobby one final time, her expression carrying the quiet satisfaction of someone who has turned suffering into purpose and personal pain into institutional progress. When she speaks again, her voice carries the weight of someone who has earned the right to issue challenges that could change lives and reshape organizations. The next time you witness discrimination, you have a choice, she begins, her words directed not just to the people in the lobby but to everyone who will hear this story in the days and weeks to come. You can look away and preserve your comfort, or you can speak up and preserve your integrity. You can maintain the status quo that benefits you, or you can build something better that benefits everyone. Her challenge hangs in the air like a gauntlet thrown down before anyone who has ever remained silent in the face of injustice. Maya isn't just talking about dramatic confrontations or career-defining moments. She's talking about the small, daily choices that collectively create organizational culture and social progress. If you're in leadership, ask yourself this question: what would your employees experience if they didn't know who you were? Would they be treated with respect and dignity, or would their treatment depend on their perceived status and value? The question cuts to the heart of authentic leadership, challenging every manager and executive to examine whether their organizational values are real or merely aspirational. Sarah approaches with a tablet displaying social media feeds that are already exploding with responses to the morning's events. The hashtag TechVision CEO is trending, with thousands of people sharing their own stories of workplace discrimination and corporate bias. Maya's personal experience has become a catalyst for a much larger conversation about systemic problems in corporate America. Your character is tested not in moments of comfort, but in moments of choice, Maya continues, her voice carrying the authority of someone who has just passed the ultimate test of character under the most challenging circumstances. Every interaction is an opportunity to build bridges or walls, to create inclusion or enforce exclusion, to demonstrate your values or reveal your prejudices. James approaches respectfully, his expression reflecting the kind of inspired determination that comes from witnessing transformational leadership in action. Miss Johnson, he says quietly. What happened today is going to change everything, isn't it? Maya's smile is gentle but resolute as she nods. Change was already coming, James. Today just accelerated the timeline. Rosa joins them, her tears replaced by a determined expression that speaks to newfound empowerment. I want to be part of making sure this never happens to anyone else, she says, her voice thick with conviction. Maya's response acknowledges both the commitment and the challenge ahead. Then we'll need your voice, your experience, and your courage. Real change requires participation from everyone. The lobby continues to buzz with activity, but the energy has completely transformed. Where there was once exclusion, there's now possibility. Where there was once bias, there's now accountability. Where there was once silence, there's now conversation. Maya's willingness to endure humiliation in order to expose systematic problems has created space for honest dialogue and meaningful reform. Share this story not for entertainment but for education, Maya says, addressing the cameras that have appeared as news crews arrive to document the aftermath. Let it serve as a reminder that prejudice anywhere threatens justice everywhere, and that the cost of silence in the face of discrimination is always higher than the price of speaking truth to power. Her words carry beyond the immediate audience to reach anyone who has ever felt powerless in the face of systematic bias. Maya has proven that patient documentation, strategic thinking, and unwavering moral conviction can overcome even entrenched prejudice when wielded by someone with the courage to endure short-term pain for long-term progress. Tag someone who needs to hear this message, she continues, understanding that social media will amplify her words far beyond the corporate walls where this drama unfolded. Let's create workplaces where everyone belongs, where dignity is non-negotiable, where character matters more than appearance. The transformation is complete. Maya Johnson has turned a morning of systematic humiliation into an afternoon of systematic reform. She has proven that true power doesn't come from demanding respect based on title, but from commanding respect through character. She has shown that the most effective response to discrimination isn't always immediate confrontation, but sometimes the patient work of building an airtight case for comprehensive change. As she prepares to leave the lobby that will never be the same, Maya delivers her final words with the authority of someone who has just rewritten the rules of corporate culture through moral courage and strategic thinking. Remember this: you never know who you're really talking to. But more importantly, it shouldn't matter. Every person deserves dignity, respect, and fair treatment, regardless of their title, their appearance, or their ability to advance your career. The words echo through the lobby and beyond, carrying the promise that this moment of personal vindication will become the foundation for institutional transformation. Maya Johnson has turned suffering into strength, humiliation into hope, and personal pain into the catalyst for systemic change that will benefit countless others who might have suffered in silence. True power isn't in demanding respect, it's in commanding it through character.